manager?
You know, I don't know, maybe. We're here for the money.
Oh.
20% tax or increase on rate over 5 years or 4
really?
years. Yeah. So.
Beautiful.
Yeah. How about 4.5% increase to all wages? So there you go. You heard a little bit right now, and yeah. What more can I say? We're here at Sweetwater Authority. Welcome to the stream. I hope we're streaming. Be headed in to sign up in a minute here. Alright, channel 2's on. And we're on here. So the only thing I need is a logo. This logo I use is going to change. It's getting updated right now. 2 more minutes. The meeting's at 5 o'clock. So if you want to get here early, sign up for public comment if you have to. Hello. Vape. I'm gonna be in there for like 3 or 4 hours, I'm sure. Alright, 3%. It's better. Let's go on in. Have a good day.
Good luck in there.
Yeah, Chula Vista live data. Watch it online. Not open yet. I want to know how we're supposed to put 50% of ratepayers in here to be able to protest anything. I mean, probably max capacity for this building is like a couple hundred, you know? Like, even if you could fit 50 people here, you can't even fit this amount in the room. It's like a little hallway, so I'd probably say a couple hundred people. Maybe you can put 1,000 in the parking lot with no cars. I mean, I better hurry up and open the door. Gotta sign up. There we go. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good. I know I'm not breathing that hard. Man. Sure does sound like I'm wearing a mic. I don't like their slips. I'm gonna make a comment on that. The other one's 7-7.
HR office. Yeah, thank you.
Three, 7-1, 7-2, 7-7. 7-8, 8-1. 8-2. 8-5. 10, 11. Let's see.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Good, good.
Want me to turn these in with you?
I will
or-
take them and hand them off.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, over on that side would be better.
Cool.
If you don't mind. Who's doing that question already? Yeah, that. Pipeline issue.
Hi, Senator Whitestone.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good evening, how are you?
Can I get you some water or coffee?
I'm fine.
You're good.
Yeah.
Let me know. Yeah. Hi, Robert.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's Leticia, right?
That is right.
Pleasure.
Good to see you again.
Yeah. Try to do it digitally because I get to, go to more meetings.
Of
But
course.
every once in a while, I gotta show up in person.
Oh, no, of course.
Good stay.
Water, Robert, or anything?
Oh no, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta need my example piece. This be better.
Your phone just rang.
One?
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It wasn't me.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
Do you have another form for me, Robert, or no?
I did hand them in.
I have.
Oh.
I just see you with one. I'm like, do you have another one? For
No,
me?
this is my example.
Ah.
Yeah, so I can talk about it. Thank you, though.
I do play some pickleball. Padel. Have you ever seen Padel? Have you heard about it? Are you? Right. So I was basically in South America. It's like the fastest growing sport there.
Don't mind me if you see me in the Zoom too, though, right now.
Oh.
Do you know, like, it used to be called Morgan Run. Now it's called La Valle. It's up in the east of Del Mar area. So. Okay. Now all pickle. I still play some pickle. I still play a lot of tennis, unfortunately. But I really have. It's kind of like racquetball and pickleball, but it's easier on the joints because it's up turf.
I want to join from browser.
Yeah.
Join from browser.
Oh, okay. Well, that would make sense. That's where it's really taking off.
Yes, all of a sudden, number one sport.
Oh, it's huge.
Yes,
Did I hear you say, are you on the board of the community power?
yes.
Oh, okay. Do you know,
Nice.
is it Jill
All
Monroe?
cameras are up.
Okay. I've known Jill forever. So, her and Felipe, her husband Felipe Monroy,
She is the sweetheart.
she's fantastic. So, I tried to hire her when I was still over at SDG&E a while ago now. She was over at Point Loma at the time. And I tried to steal her away, but I couldn't quite. I wasn't able to make it work. But
Yes, well, she's,
Jill is fantastic.
She is, she's so
She's great. Very sharp. Yeah.
Hey, 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 what's going on?
How you doing, bud?
You doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing
Been
well.
around, but I'm doing all right.
All right.
Hi,
Cecilia,
good
how are
morning.
you?
Great.
Director, how are you? You
Good to
good?
see you.
I'm good.
Yeah, how are you?
Hi, good. How about you?
Good. California Business Advisors.
Try to stay out of the way here with my foot. Walk you?
Son, you're here?
Yeah, came by to say hi.
Son, you're here.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
How are you?
I see you back there.
I'm good, son, I'm good.
What's up, man? How you doing? How you been?
Coming by, check out the operation.
Check out your, exactly. Check out the setup.
Okay, he's gonna be on remotely? Yes. Director,
Yeah.
our GM is not feeling well, so he's gonna be on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Good.
Hi.
Maybe I'm a left-handed person today. You can move it however you want. How are you? There's a purple one right here. I think there's more on that side. Oh,
Hey, Ben, were you in Sacramento yesterday?
Day before.
What day was the earthquake? Was it yesterday? Yeah, it was a 5.8, Mendocino County, about 150 miles north of Sacramento. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. I was just wondering if you were there and you felt it. He said it was about 2.8 or 3 felt in Sacramento aftershocks.
Yeah. Pretty sad.
Actually, Bob was up there yesterday. Yesterday. The LIO meeting.
Thank you for coming.
Said he was going to Sacramento. What's that? Your truck? Yeah. Oh, I parked in the corner there.
Oh, no wonder.
Yeah.
I was thinking we didn't have a quorum, but it seemed.
No, I'm here.
Here, look at that.
I didn't see anybody's
Like it or
car.
not, I'm here.
I didn't see your car, I saw your car.
We have 2 minutes.
Nobody
Director
parked
Martinez
at the
got his
director's
thing.
spot.
They're all sitting empty. I'm usually early, so I like to leave faster before I run late.
I just left it open for people. Gate was open, so they might have a lot of people there today, so just leave it.
I left it on because I was getting a big Chevy truck. You know, that's like right there.
Contract.
Yeah. One of those. Ladies.
It's the gym, right?
It's on- Yes.
Sabino Varela.
Now we know who your caller is.
Say, hey, Sabrina. You know, what's up? No word from Tony, man.
No, wow.
Did he call?
And we'll check in after.
He's here.
Yeah.
I saw him, but I don't know where he went to.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
not good.
Hi, Council.
Good evening.
5 o'clock. Okay. Directors, 5 o'clock. Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Ready.
ready.
Let me record.
Board Secretary.
Recording
start
in
recording.
progress.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Secretary. Good afternoon, everyone. This meeting is being held on Wednesday, June 24, 2026. The meeting of Sweetwater Authority Governing Board is called to order. Board members and members of the public may attend in person. Additionally, some board members may attend the meeting virtually pursuant to the Brown Act. As a convenience to the public, the authority provides a call-in option, an internet-based option for members of the public to virtually observe and provide public comments at its meetings. Instructions for virtual observation and participation were included in the agenda. Members of the public attending the meeting in person may submit a public comment slip and submit it to the board chair or secretary prior to start of an agenda item. Members of the public attending virtually via the Zoom webinar or call-in option may also make public comments on an agenda item during the meeting by raising their hand, webinar by clicking on the raise hand button, and via phone by pressing *9. Remote users can change between gallery options by clicking the view button on the Zoom platform. Please, in the event of a disruption in the call-in or internet-based option for observing and or participating in this meeting, the meeting will continue unless a director is attending the meeting virtually pursuant to certain provisions of the Brown Act. Prior to proceeding to roll call, I would like to make sure that our general manager who's online can hear us loud and clear.
I can, Chair.
Thank you, GM. Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair, we have Director Martinez Perez attending remotely.
Oh, Director Martinez first, can you hear us loud and clear, ma'am?
I can, may I provide my statement?
Yes, please, Director.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm participating in today's meeting remotely under a recent amendment to the Brown Act due to child care obligations that prevent me from participating in purchase. And no one is in the room with me.
Okay, thank you, Director. And that is to comply to the brief statement regarding participation pursuant of the Brown Act. So, Board Secretary.
Director Cox.
Present?
Director Delgado.
Present?
Director Martinez.
Here.
Director Martinez Perez.
Here.
Director Morrison is absent. Director Amani.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand if you can. The Director Castañeda, would you do the honor to lead us?
Please, hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Moving on with the item number 3, opportunity for public comment. We will now hear public comments on items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the authority that are not on the agenda. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
Yes, Chair, we have a public comment from Robert.
Okay.
Testing. Sweetwater Authority, pleasure to have this meeting. You guys do a lot of good things for transparency, and I always like to highlight you guys for your efforts. At the same time, I've just come to tell you how much trouble I have with other agencies, and we're trying to hope to get those fixed so the public has free access to meetings and things like that. And so through many times I have been here, I've probably even made this comment once because it's such an easy one. But on the speaker slip for public comment, and especially items, it's always best to have like approve or agree, disagree, neutral position. So that way we're not relying on staff to tell us what our public comment means as far as a position. Some agencies write a detailed description of what the public commenter said. Other agencies just write public commenter and then whoever they signed up as. I've even had some agencies add more information to my name, hence doxing me. And, so somewhat I'd say it was malicious in that sense of I didn't write my name and they filled out my entire full name. So, I'm just making you aware so that way we don't have these problems. But it would be great to get this updated so that way positions could be reflected. And the main reason why I bring that up is because if you expect 50% of ratepayers to show up here in this little building with no parking lot, I mean, the level that you guys put up for us to petition you guys is so extreme that I would at least ask for my position to be noted by myself and not staff. There are other things on this agenda. I'm trying to stay generalized right now, but as far as Sweetwater Authority goes, some of the issues I'm seeing right now is like the member that's virtual isn't on the screen right now, whereas she's supposed to be visible during the meeting the whole time. Whether that's going to be you guys minimizing her or her, I know she is there. I did see it for a second, but everybody else online can see her. And if she walks away during this meeting, do you lose quorum, right? These are the things that I hope that everybody's thinking of when we're having these virtual. I saw the hand raise, announcement for the public, checking a couple of things to make sure it's working. Other agencies like Otay Water District, they had to stop the whole meeting because I put my hand up and they couldn't take my public comment. So once again, acting as a community member that's trying to give you good information, we just want to make sure that the public is recognized virtually and that the cameras are viewable, especially her camera in this room. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 4, Chair's presentation 4.1. Resolution by Supervisor Paloma Aguirre honoring Sweetwater Authority's Customer Appreciation Day 2026. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on item 4.1. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
There's no public comments, Chair.
Thank you. This is board. This is an information only, and we have here the representative. You may introduce yourself, Ms. De La Torre, but please have the.
Perfect. Good evening, esteemed board. My name is Marianne De La Torre. I'm the senior community representative at the Office of Supervisor Paloma Aguirre at the County of San Diego District 1. It is my honor on behalf of Supervisor Aguirre to commemorate Sweetwater Authority's Customer Appreciation Day 2026. I will read some that really outline your impact. In 2024, the Sweetwater Authority Water Affordability Program is the first and only water affordability program of its kind among San Diego County water agencies, delivering critical financial relief to qualifying households in disadvantaged communities. And whereas the Sweetwater Authority has reached a major milestone of assisting more than 1,000 South County households through this unique program, reflecting a year-long dedicated outreach effort to connect local families and seniors living on fixed incomes with essential aid. And whereas the County of San Diego is committed to recognizing and honoring those individuals and organizations that are dedicated to the best ideals of public service, and the Sweetwater Authority is one such worthy organization, now therefore, be it proclaimed by Chair Tara Lawson Reamer and all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this 24th day of June 2026, that they commend the Sweetwater Authority for their outstanding service, leadership, and commitment to the residents of San Diego County, and do hereby declare this day to be Sweetwater Authority Customer Appreciation Day throughout San Diego County. Thank you so much for the wonderful announcement. Congratulations on your
Directors, any comments, please?
Well, I just wonder if we can get a picture with
Yes.
Ms. De La Torre and some of the dais here.
Yes, thank you, Director. Any other comments from the directors? Director Paloma. Director Martinez Perez. Paulina, do you have any comment, Director?
Sad I'm gonna miss that picture.
Yes.
Pin me on the background like
Yeah. GM, you know, I mean, you all, this is all you also that's been the forefront of our office, and of course your team that made this happen. Any comment from you, GM?
Well, of course, you know, my appreciation to staff really for putting all this and putting all the effort. So, and then for the board to be supportive of actually approving the program using our non-water revenue to do so. So, really a team effort, and I think this is a testament of everybody working together on behalf of the ratepayers. So.
Thank you, GM. Thank you. So, yes, Director Martinez.
I just wanted to say that I'm really excited about this. I mean, it's we've been working on it for years, and it's just taking off exponentially recently. And I know staff is putting a lot of effort into it, and we're celebrating the results right now. And I'm hoping that other water districts, I mean, I'm getting questions. You know, how do you do it? Is it legal? Can you know? I said, oh yes. I mean, I give them I explain to them how we did it. You know, with non-revenue water resources, and I'm hoping that we're not the only one, and I hope that we can share the knowledge with all the other water districts, everything that we've learned, and that pretty soon this is normal. You know, taking care of our neighbors that need help.
Thank you, Director. Yes, Director, please.
So I want to thank you. Obviously, we just came off a statewide election last, or a couple weeks ago this month, and the build up, all of the politicians all the way from statewide down to the local level, everybody's talking about affordability, everything. But there's very few agencies that actually do anything about it. There's a lot of talk. And so, the water assistance program, the rate assistance program, I think is proof positive. We put our money where our mouth is. The fact that we, and I don't know if, and please tell your boss, the supervisor, that our rates here at Sweetwater will be a 0% increase. And we are doing everything we can to ensure that people, to the best of our ability, can afford water. And so when we look at everything from SDG&E and the rates going up there, You know, the county water authority, I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more. You know, as much as they call it relief, their rates are going up. So I wanna just appreciate the supervisor for recognizing us, and we'll keep working on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Ms. De La Torre, from Sweetwater Authority. Please extend our appreciation to our supervisor for District 1, Paloma Aguirre, and of course, all the supervisors for County of San Diego. So thank you so much for this acknowledgement, and we do work so hard for our ratepayers. Thank you so much. So now, Director, if we can take a picture, and Angel marker for us. Thank you.
And the official Sweetwater camera phone.
Oh, there. Look at the background.
There you go.
Look at
Go
the
ahead, Madam
background.
Chair.
Thank you. Let's
Go ahead.
at the back. GM, you better smile. GM. Look at GM, he's not looking. GM, look there. See?
Get yours and then I'll get
Take a couple here.
Tell Carlos to smile.
Carlos isn't smiling yet. He's not.
GM, you are pinned so that we can take the photo. Can you smile?
Or wake up. I don't know.
There we go, there we go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this one will go to our wall of fame.
How are you?
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, yeah.
Have a very good evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ms. De La Torre. Thank you. All right, thank you so much for that. Moving on to action calendar agenda. Item 5, items to be added, withdrawn, or reordered to the agenda. GM?
Oh, you're right.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Let me repeat that. Moving on to agenda item number 5, items to be added, withdrawn, or reordered on the agenda. GM?
No, Chair.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6, approval of minutes. 6.1, special board meeting of June 5th, 2026. 6.2, regular board meeting of June 10, 2026. And 6.3, special board meeting of June 11, 2026. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on items 6.1 through 6.3. Board Secretary, are there any public comments, ma'am?
There's no public comments, Chair.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Thank you. I have a motion soliciting for a
I'll
second.
second that.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the dais? Seeing none, Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Chair, if I may clarify, this is a motion for approval of 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Director Castañeda?
Yes.
Director Cox?
Aye.
Director Delgado?
Aye.
Director Martinez?
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez?
Aye.
Director Morrison? Is absent. Director Imani?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously with Director Morrison absent.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7, consent calendar items. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on the consent calendar items. Board Secretary, are there any members of the public that would like to speak?
Yes, Chair. We have a public comments for items 7.1, 7.2, 7.7, and 7.8 from Robert.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I just want to go ahead and register recusal for item 7.1, which is San Diego Gas and Electric, our monthly bill. And I have a financial relationship with the parent company, Semper Utilities.
Thank you. So noted, Director. So that's 7.1, 7.2, 7.7, did you say, Board Secretary?
Yes, 7.7 and 7.8.
7.8. Mr. Robert, if you would like to speak, sir, thank you.
Through the chair,
Yes.
would you like a motion to move the rest of the consent calendar and pull those items that have public comments?
Is that, well, do we want to listen to him first before?
We do, that's what typically we have have in the past gone ahead and moved 7.3, 7.4, 7.5, and 7.6, and then gone back and had the public and board meetings.
So, do you, I just wanted to hear what he's wanna say.
Absolutely, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. A little different. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Point of order. Is that correct that no members want to pull this item?
We wanted to
She
hear.
was hinting right on the point of order, though.
I am
My
asking
time
you to
hasn't
speak,
started
Mr.
either,
Robert.
because I'm in a point of clarification.
Well, I am asking you to speak as the chair. Go ahead, sir.
On what item would you like me
On
to
seven
speak?
dot one, 7.2, 7.7, and 7.8.
So, point of clarification. Again, I don't know why my time's running if we're having a point of clarification.
Go ahead and, 7.2, 7.7, 7.8.
Right, but if you allow me, does that mean I only get to speak once on all the items? Speak on each item? Like I said, I just asked if we were going to pull the items so I could comment on them individually.
Go ahead with your 7.1, Mr. Robert.
Not going to say anything?
Madam Chair, are you running this meeting, or is the
that's why
speaker,
I'm asking for a point of clarification,
you know,
that's it.
Mr. Robert, please speak on 7.1.
And then do I get to speak on the other actions? That's what I'm trying to
Just
figure
start to
out.
speak 7.1, right, and I will call you for 7.2. Is that good?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
it should just say all the time in one run and then I just go on, but if you want to call me back each time, I guess
You can stay
we'll
there,
do the
sir.
procedural.
You can
Thanks.
stay there.
Okay. Yes, I run the meeting. Especially when you guys are lacking the ability. Just so the public's aware, it's $245,738 with 78 cents. That's one line item. $966.70 is the second line item. The third line item is $57.11. Now, I think this is very important because the water district claims sustainability, claims these words of affordability even. So when we're thinking about sustainability within the water district, why would you guys not be with the other company that pushes renewable energy, and why would you guys be paying the fossil fuel company, SDG&E? San Diego Community Power is the alternate. I mean, if you guys have solar panels, you guys are part of them. So, you know, I can't see the bill, right? I see the bill on my end when I go home and pay the house bill at my house. But it tells me that I have two companies, SDG&E and San Diego Community Power. Now, as far as I understand it, the claim here now is that we don't have solar panels and we're not paying San Diego Community Power. We only pay for big oil money, or whatever, you know. I'm using climate justice words. You guys love to do this, so I'm trying to stay within that vocabulary you'll understand. The efforts to maintain status quo for SDG&E, hence a member benefits, right? He recused himself from it, which is required. But I don't think you guys are fulfilling the role of the sustainability. I mean, am I supposed to speak for everybody else to say that without the bill I won't know if you're part of San Diego Community Power? It doesn't say it here, so I'm assuming you're not. So your choice is to stay away from the renewable energies, right? And only use San Diego gas and electric. Does it say how much is renewable of their, you know? Want me to stay up here or go back and forth?
Are you done with 7.1, sir?
No, I just got 30 seconds left, so I just thought I'd get ahead of it. Sometimes we just need time to think, too. Appreciate you running with my time and restarting that. Secretary, thank you.
Okay, 7.2, Mr. Robert?
$7.2 is a itemized list of expenses. And one that stuck out to me that I thought should be brought up is I don't see it on where I screenshotted, but it's expense for travel and meetings for the board member, Ron Morrison, right, the mayor. And it's for like $1,200. And in the clarification of that, is that just for the month of May? Because it doesn't specifically give a date on when the payments are made. It just tells us, you know, the customer refunds or, you know, if that payment is for your guys' expenses, it would just be nice to have clarity. Up there, it gives, at the very top is what I'm looking at, I guess, and it says like, Canyon Spring Enterprise, $515,000, right? And then it gives you a basic understanding: construction, central wheeler, tank construction, and system improvements. So there's a little bit more of a description to the item, and I think for the public good of your guys' position, you should be more transparent to your payments and what you receive. Or else maybe the public might just FOIA all of them and figure out if the expenses are actually related. Because that is definitely what the public could do if they wanted to check on all of your guys' expenses. So maybe a little more transparency on that. I do like the line item. It's a lot more transparent than other agencies, but I think the scrutiny of the public is more towards the directors, board members, than it would be about, you know, other individual companies. But yeah, you guys do have a lot of money going out, it looks like. I wonder sometimes if, like we can see where, or we can't see where the power comes in from. We can see where the water's coming from, right? It comes in from the pipes. We can actually physically see it moving sometimes. And then I just wonder, can we visualize and see how the reverse osmosis systems, you know, and so like here I can visually see the money moving around, right, on context. So you guys want to make it affordable. You guys want to say all these nice keyword things, but we're going to come back to those statements later because we have a rate increase. So wow.
Thank you. 7.7, Mr. Robert. You can start
It's
now.
consulting. Am I on the right one? I'll check. Yeah, this is the media consulting one. Okay, so as a good understanding, it's always good to have good publicity, right? And formatting, strategic communications and message development, but on purpose manipulating words to always favor yourself and never admit any wrongdoing is another way you could say it. There's going to be a quote I'll tell you guys later, and hopefully you guys laugh at it because it's your guys' own words. So. You know, I think you guys' outreach does do pretty good. Let's see, is it in here? The data, media relations, strategic communications, message development, coalition building, research. I mean, like I said, they're all great buzzwords, you know, but what does that actually entail? I think the contracts for $6,000 some odd dollars a month, not to exceed 70,000, right? And you know, a lot of the times we just need to verbalize this for people because it's hidden in the document, which is available. I will say that, it is available. But without telling the public, we're all just kind of like, you know, keeping it to ourselves instead of sharing free and open information. You know, that's why I think sometimes it's better to pull the items so we can have the discussion. And now I'm going to say something, you might want to come up and talk about it, and then you're not going to be able to because you didn't pull the item. And then if you get a staff presentation, because we'll do a little procedural talk right now. If we do a staff presentation during a public comment, oh yeah, I've caught people doing that too. If we do a staff presentation after this, does that not make it pulled then? So, you know, like I said, I have to be able to speak on a fair, equal ground with you guys. And if you guys have a staff presentation after I've made my public comments, it's going to upset me. Because I'm trying to speak on the items with no information, no other comments. And I've had situations where then it becomes a comment, and then I don't get to speak on it. So I do appreciate Ms. Cox kind of wanting to pull these maybe. I don't know if that was her intent, but... you know, we need a little bit more dialogue sometimes. And I do appreciate all of my time, as you can tell. So, we got, what, one more here?
Seven dot eight, Mr. Robert, and you can.
Thank you. If this was the other, they're kind of similar because it's a Sweetwater Authority communications plan, so it's along that same line of messaging. And you know, in the paperwork, if I have the right page, I think I do. It mentions key political stakeholders. The mayor, John McCann, is listed, Tiffany Allen, the city manager, and then all the council members, and then National City it lists Ron Morrison, National City, Leslie, Denise, city manager, and then all the council members. And then it goes into Bonita, and you know, there's a good community there too that does have representation. It is listed here. Where was it at? I think it's this one. So Sweetwater is aware of this is a sample holding statement. This is kind of what I'm talking about propaganda sometimes. The Sweetwater Authority is aware of an issue affecting our water systems and is actively working to address the situation. Public health and safety are our top priority. We are coordinating with local and state agencies. We'll provide updates as soon as more information becomes available. And so like you're giving someone like a stock line, when you ain't got nothing to say this, right? Like, you know, there was another page in here. It might be in a later item because obviously I pulled a couple of items today. But I think in this one it says, media engagement. Correct misinformation quickly. What if you're the source of the misinformation? You know, you guys don't want to face that fact sometimes, right? Establish single messaging points. Provide fact sheets. We'd love to see some of these fact sheets. And then another good thing I think the public should know is stakeholder notification protocol. First, it's the board of directors, then it's the customers, then city managers, then mayors, council members, then it's state regulators, county public officials, regional water agencies, and then the media. Crisis response structure, activate crisis communication team, verify facts. I guess that. Some of this I'm just reading so the public knows.
Thank you. Board?
Chair, I move for approval of all consent calendar items.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Director. Director Cox?
Thank you. I had questions on 7.7 and 7.8. That's what I asked earlier if we wanted to.
You want to pull that, Director?
Thank you.
Okay, 7.7, 7.8 is pulled by Director Cox. Any other? Seeing none?
Madam Chair, since I got a recusal on the first one, I'll just go ahead and defer my
Second to
Second to
Director Martinez
Director.
Perez. Did you
Please,
get that,
yes,
Board
thank you.
Secretary?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, so then, there is that motion in the second. Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Castaneda,
Yes.
Director
Yes.
Cox,
Aye.
Director Delgado,
Aye.
Director Martinez,
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez,
Aye.
Director Morrison is absent, Director Yamani.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously with Director Morrison absent.
Thank you. Director Cox on 7.7.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask a couple questions. The previous contract with Affinity was within the GM signing authority at the same amount that this one is, and so I'm just wondering why this contract is coming to the board when past years haven't.
I think that's a legal question.
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that.
Well, my understanding, if he continued to do that, it'd be a serial contract.
Yeah, I haven't
I
looked at it.
can, yeah, I
haven't
can
had the
weigh
issue
in on it,
finding
Chair,
it,
if it's
so-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. General Manager?
Yeah, the first time the contract was awarded is within my authority, so that's the authority that the board has granted me, so I awarded a contract for 75,000. And to me, doing so again will be, as Director Castaneda pointed out, will be a serial contract, so that could be reminding the authority that the board has given me. So I decided to bring it to committee for consideration. The committee made a recommendation to the board to approve the contract, so here we are.
Okay, thank you. And if this is the third contract with this agency, right, with this firm?
Communication supervisors purposes.
Okay.
Yeah. This
Okay.
is the second for as a communication advisor.
Okay, I thought they had done some previous communications work. There was a recent solicitation for communications consultant services that was put out, I think, to the world. Is this contract, just for clarification, a result of that solicitation?
No, that would be a separate contract coming to the board.
Okay, so we are awarding a contract for communication services ahead of awarding a larger contract for communication services?
That is correct. This is a communications advisory contract for Affinity Public Affairs. Affinity Public Affairs, and there'll be a second contract for general public affairs support services.
Okay, so the difference between advisory and general support services?
Correct. If
Okay.
you want to see it that way, yeah.
Okay, and are there any vacancies or current gaps in what our public affairs team is able to do? I'd just like to better understand what this firm will do versus staff, and then what the ultimate general communications services firm will do.
There is currently a vacancy that we intend to look at and possibly reclassify, Director Cox. And then this consultant will provide skills that I don't think we have in-house, and that'll be the support that we're looking for. Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, thank you for the questions on that item.
So you wanna move that?
I'll let the members of the committee who made the
Okay.
recommendation.
What?
Recommendation is basically to approve the general manager's recommendation.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and move
Okay.
the recommendation from the committee.
Thank you, Director. I have a motion.
I'll second that.
And I have a second. Any other comments? Seeing none, Board Secretary, let's vote.
Director Castaneda,
Yes.
Director Cox,
Aye.
Director Delgado,
Aye.
Director Martinez,
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez,
Aye.
Director Morrison is absent, Director Yamani.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously with Director Morrison absent.
Thank you. Director Cox, 7.8.
Thank you again very much. First, I'd like to clarify what the requested action is on this item. The agenda asked for the board to approve the plan, and the actual report says provide input.
This is the plan that, the chair,
Yeah, I can go ahead and basically answer that. I mean, I didn't write it, so I don't know specifically how it all got done, but basically this is something that we have been working on for some time. We've asked our public affairs and public communications folks to give us a plan. Right now, we don't have a specific plan. They provided that at a presentation to the communications committee, and we unanimously recommended that the board approve it because, and Affinity also will be assisting in the implementation of that because the world and government's full of plans, and unless they're implemented, they don't really mean much. So we want to make sure that we have the right kind of expertise and we have the right kind of resources to make this all happen. And I want to thank Affinity and Angel Marquez for doing that. And it has gone through some revisions and some refinements, and I think it's a very good plan. So I move approval.
So I appreciate the attempted answer to the question, but the question again is, the agenda says approve, the recommendation is to approve the Sweetwater Authority Communications Plan, but the report says staff recommends the governing board provide input on. So I'm again just seeking clarification.
Can I?
Approving
Go ahead.
or
Well, it's
Yeah.
really up to the board. Do we present it a communications plan? The board can either provide input and we can come back and bring it, or the board can approve what we presented. So I defer to the governing board on.
I'm moving it without any additional input, so I'm looking for a second.
And I'll have to register a second on that.
So does that mean that there's no
There is a
opportunity
plan
for
that's
further board
attached.
input?
There's a
seen it.
plan, yeah, okay. So, yes, there is, just like what the general managers, there are any continuing, this is a living document that we can improve and move on our communications plan. But in the meantime, right now, we have this plan to be able to follow for our government affairs and our communications team to be able to move forward with this. If there are things that you see that can be enhanced, that fits with the plan, then of course, you know, I mean, it's a living document. All of us can make recommendations.
Okay, so we can do that now?
Yes, if you want that, you can, you know, I mean, you can email the general manager so we can, so it's all can be in writing, and they can, you know, general manager and secretary and our chair can go over it, and then it will come back to the board, I mean, to the committee.
Okay, so no opportunity for board comment at this time?
I think it's better if you just send your recommendation to the general manager, so that will go back to the committee. Okay?
Would you be willing to put a timeline on that? Because I've had several times where I've provided input and items just haven't come back, so I'd appreciate knowing if I provide the input this week, when might that come back?
When you send that, Director, CC me, and I'll work on it, okay? Thank you. Okay, so that is that comment there. We have a motion and a second. Any other comment, General Manager?
None of this, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Board Secretary, please call the roll.
Director Castañeda?
Yes.
Director Cox?
Abstain.
Director Delgado?
Aye.
Director Martinez?
Aye.
Director Martinez Perez?
Aye.
Director Morrison is absent. Director Yamani?
Aye.
The motion passes with Directors Castañeda, Delgado, Martinez, Martinez Perez, and Yamani in favor, Director Cox abstaining, and Director Morrison absent.
Okay, thank you, and I've seen your note, Board Secretary, thank you. On to action and discussion items. Item 8, new business. 8.1, presentation of draft 2026 water rate study, proposed water rates. 8.1, who is this? General Manager, oh, hold on. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on item 8.1. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
Yes, Chair, we have a public comment from Robert.
Through the chair.
Yes.
May I offer that this is a really complicated item and it comes before us only every few years. Would it benefit the public for them to hear the presentation before comments are provided?
Okay, let's hear this, let's hear your public comment, please.
I hope you guys are getting ready for the lawsuit. That's what I hope you're getting ready for. Right? Just throw out the opportunity for me to get any of the information.
Madam Chair, are we
are
being
we-
threatened with litigation here? Is that
Mr.
very-
Robert,
Well, I mean, you guys are preventing me
Are you
from hearing
going-
the presentation.
Are you going to speak, Mr. Robert?
This
I'm
is my
giving
time
you
to
the
speak
opportunity.
before the presentation?
Yes, you have the opportunity on public comment before the presentation. It's come forward and you have the opportunity to speak on it.
Alright. We'll send you a cease and desist letter. You know what the process is. Man, come in here saying some good things, and we want to end it this way. Right? This is how we want to end it? preventing the public from hearing presentations and making comments before the presentation. You guys have habitually done this to me, just to let you know. This is not the first time I've made this comment. Thank you, Ms. Cox, for recognizing the public's need to hear the presentation before I make comment on it. Hence, they could say things that could answer some of the things I'm raising. You know, transparency. Man, don't you love it when I show up? We'll just drop the mic everywhere. What, do you run the meeting? All right, let's get into this. Wasting my time. I'll waste your time. So the proposed rate increase is 5%, then it's, you know, it's another 5%, then it's another 5%, then it's another 5%, which ends up being 21.55%. I mean, I love it. You guys can dip into money not many people can. What's a fractional penny? You guys got any on you? I'll take a fractional penny from you if any of you can produce one right now. I doubt you can. How about the fact that from last year's budget to this year's budget, it went down in the cost, and then you're going to say the total funds need to be higher, right? Did you guys go to the San Diego? How they're saying that rates are going, but no, you pay SDG&E, right? Is it the 4.5% rate increase to the employees' wages too that drive all this need to actually make more money and not provide more water? The product you sell, which is water. You know, I find this highly offensive that you would do this to the public. Hiding the presentation and the lack of me to be able to see it causes damage. And this is the only 3 minutes I get. So when I say it's going to make me angry the last time, it's going to make me angry this time too. Every time you take away the opportunity for the public to hear what you guys have to say, don't be surprised when we're sitting here just talking shit. Highly inappropriate. You guys need to learn how to run a meeting. You guys are lacking the ability to run meetings.
Thank you. General Manager, I defer to you, sir.
Thank you, Chair. You know, just for the record clarification, we do include the presentation in the packet, so that way the public has access to it. And having said that, we do have Sarah from MBS that will give you an update on the latest cost of service study.
Okay, Director.
And Carlos said everything I needed to say, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it to Sarah. Lee, he is gonna set up the PowerPoint presentation for Sarah.
Rich, if you don't mind, just for the record, I mean, this is when we identify a certain rate increase as part of the cost of service study, it's not that we're gonna raise the rates that much. It just allows us, it provides a guideline, a roadmap framework for future years. Can you clarify that, please?
Yes, that's correct. And in Sarah's presentation, she'll show that the first year of the % revenue increase, there's some finer points to that. Comments. And then the latter 4 years, we have that set at a 5% increase for those last. Each one of those rate increases, we'll evaluate if we really do need to increase the revenues or cuts in spending. So right now, it's you know, for the future, and we can always make adjustments to the lower revenue requirements into the future. Points, and I want to be able to provide the with some options for future.
Good evening, members of the public. My name is Sarah Mears. with NBS. It's my pleasure to be back here with you this evening to bring you the proposed rates. Last time I was here, we talked through generally what are ready with some numbers to share with you. So I will get into my presentation. All right, we will also spend a little bit of time going over the methodology. Hear that part. We'll go over the financial plan, which is where we're setting our team. We'll talk about the rate design and then so first we have an overview of issues, Proposition 218, as well as study goals and objectives. So, of course, rate set by proposition, and that does a number of things. That is a proposition that was voted into law in 1996 by the voters in California, and that limits the authority of local government to impose taxes and charges. And it requires that when you're adopting property-related fees, that they be limited to the cost of providing the service, and revenues may not be used for services generally available. Property-related fees are subject to the noticed public hearing and tabulation of written protests. If you have a majority protest, then your rates may not be implemented. The practices are threefold in terms of process. First, we develop a financial plan. That's where we capture your operation and maintenance cost, your planned capital improvements, rehabilitation, repairs, that sort of thing, any debt service, and ensure that you're maintaining sufficient reserve funds. Once we understand what that revenue requirement is, we go into the cost of service analysis. That's where we take those costs and allocate them to the customer classes based on the characteristics of each customer class. So you have single-family residential, multifamily residential, and so on. And so we're allocating those costs to each of those customer classes. Lastly, we look at rate design. That's where we are looking at the share of cost that you're collecting from each customer class in terms of how much you're collecting via the fixed charge and how much you're collecting versus through your variable charge. The tiered rates, and then also looking at expecting the super El Nino, so maybe not this year, but in the future there could be drought situation. And when your sales of water decrease because there are drought restrictions, and if you're collecting revenue based on your revenue goes down. And so those provide you rate stability during a time where drought may occur. So just again, in 23, and there were a few policy changes at that time. The first was from having a percentage collected via the fixed charge to percentage, so we went from 30%. So, and through this study, we're looking at maintaining that 19%. The phase-in was modified, and you adopted a rate period that was only 3 years, not 5, at that time. There were also some changes to the single-family residential fire flow meters and some of that non-rate revenue. You heard about that earlier and got that wonderful award. That some of that non-rate revenue was allocated to that assistance fund. So our baseline going into this study is we're looking at a 5-year planning horizon. We are not anticipating changes to the current rate design or cost allocation unless they are recommended, and so we'll go through any of those recommendations. We plan to continue funding that water affordability program. So let's get into the financial plan. So this is the financial plan that shows your budget for 25-26 as well as your projected rate period 27 through 30-31. And you can see a summary here of the rate revenue, the non-rate revenue, various expenditure items, and debt service payments and so forth, as well as the capital that might be funded through rate revenue. That gets you to the a surplus or deficit, and from there you can see the net revenue requirement. As Rich noted earlier, we are projecting that in year one, there is a 0% rate revenue increase. So for 26-27, that is at 0%. And then in those ensuing years, we're looking at that 5% increase. Also, part of the financial plan is looking at your reserves, ensuring efficient reserves, and the board designated reserves, which are primarily capital, and the revenue stabilization reserve. And you can see that through the rate period that we continue to be able to maintain those levels of reserves for you. Next step is the cost of service. That's where we're allocating that net revenue requirement to the customers. Through this process, we take all of your costs, literally line item by line item of the budget, and allocate that to 5 different components. We determine for each line item what share of that cost is associated with capacity, the commodity, the customer costs, things like billing, fire protection, or your pass-throughs from CWA and MWD. Once we allocate those costs, customer class, baking factors, the percentage of consumption, the number of accounts, then we can see how those costs should be allocated to those customer classes. So I've got a couple of tables showing. The first table shows their volume, so the amount of consumption is allocated based on the historical information. It is noteworthy that your consumption is down in 2024 from what was in your last rate study by about 25,000 HCF overall. So you are seeing some consumption. We're also looking at those peaking factors there, and it is notable that the peak monthly factor is down in several of those, but interestingly, it is higher in the study for irrigation in the higher study. It is moving some of those costs around between those customer classes based on the actual data. The other, so we're actually looking at the number of meters associated with each of those customer classes. Then lastly, we're looking at the various sources of supply, because that's how we determine those tiers. And some of the changes that we've seen is that the cost per acre foot of the national city well water supply source is actually less than it was. The reservoir and CWA is higher than it was before.
Thank you, National City.
So, information, then determine, and you'll see the rates. But first, determine the total consumption by customer class. Then we determine the volume by the source of supply, how much water is coming from each of your sources of supply. Third, we allocate per class their share of each source of supply, and allocate the residential share of each source of supply to the various tiers. And so the way I think about this is, if we actually had a demonstration, gave people buckets to represent the well water and the desalinization, and then we're filling up, little cups, and that's really how we're looking at this. Is we're taking those into each of those customer classes through the tier calculation. Then we get into our rate design. Again, our goals here are to follow the cost of service, make sure that the rates are equitable and not discriminating by following that cost of service. We want to ensure understanding, so these are consistent with your prior rates. We want to look at your revenue, and we are considering, of course, any recent legal changes. So as I mentioned, we're keeping that 19% structure, and we'll go through, there's, basically you have several here. So the first is the bi-monthly fixed charge, and I do want to make a point of clarification here, that even though we have a 0% rate increase, through that analysis that I mentioned, when it reallocates costs among the customer classes, it does mean that the rate that is calculated in year one changes. And we'll talk about that a little, implementation and how implementation, but I just want to mention that because you're not going to see the same number in the 25-26 column and the 26-27 column, even though you're not increasing your rate revenue. We've gone through this cost of service analysis for you. So this is the bi-monthly fixed charge. Then we have your bi-monthly fixed irrigation charge, and you will see that these increases are a little higher, and I mentioned that peaking factor for the irrigation. That's what's coming into play here in terms of the irrigation rates increasing more than some of the other rates. These are the rates for 5. And one change here was to refine and recognize the various costs that are included in the calculation for the fire meters. We get into the variable charge per HCF, and you'll notice that the tiers are changing as a result of the cost of service. I did mention that the tier 1 cost, or well, that's not true, the national city well cost had decreased a little bit, but some of the other costs have increased. And so we refreshed that analysis to consolidate the I don't know why I always want to call it desalinization versus desalination. Apparently I looked at Google, they're the same thing.
That's what I've heard.
Yes.
Early on they used to Z, now they don't, they got rid of it.
Well, I guess I'm just old. I'm old school. So there are similar costs for those two sources of supply, and you can even see that a little bit in the last study, but the way that those costs shifted, they were also still similar, and so it made more sense to consolidate together. So that's what you're seeing here. Then we have that wholesale water purchase charge, and this charge is recognizing the potential need for additional purchase, so that what we're setting here is a maximum rate that can be revised and reviewed on an as-needed basis. And this would be something that would come into play in the event that the water is not, you don't have as much water available from your reservoir or what have you. You have the ability then to purchase more water and maintain service for your customers. And then the next slide is the pass-through charges, which is what it sounds like. These are charges from other agencies, and I mean, it's through calculation. So those costs are set by those agencies, relating how much they would be for your customers. So we did want to give you a bill comparison, because I know with the rates, sometimes it's hard to understand what does this mean to an average customer. So we looked at the single family residential less than 1-inch meter, which is your standard residential meter size. Looked at the various consumption levels. We have an average winter bill, an average annual bill, and an average summer bill. And you can see the difference between the blue line, which is the current bill, and then the green, which is the 26, 27. So you can see how much those are increasing at various consumption levels. And then it's also important to understand how this impacts your customers over time. And so for that typical annual bill, which is CF, we're looking at what the rate increase would be over the full rate period. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about that implementation for that year one. So we're here today to provide you with information about the proposed rates. This is the first time you're hearing and seeing about this information. This is an opportunity for you to ask questions and provide feedback and what have you. At this point, the to adopt rates is would be coming back later. We would be coming back to a future board meeting, and at that time we would set the public hearing and order for the notice to be mailed and that sort of thing. Processes, but would start in the future, and that does include that noticing period where we're sending out those notices at least 45 days in advance. I think we talked about that, your legal counsel that was here also talked about the exhaustion of administrative remedies process, and so that adds a little bit of time to what you might have been familiar with last year ago, but we'll guide you through that, the noticing, and then you would hold your public hearing, and I'm assuming no majority protest, you would adopt your rates. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Director Castañeda, please.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. And you know, it's tomorrow we're dealing with this at the County Water Authority. They've made it far more complicated what you have done. Appreciate it. But needs to be a distinction, because when we say we adopt rates, implement the rates, we've established a ceiling based on.
Yes.
Because they look at this and they said, well, there's a 5% increase in rates. That's not necessarily so.
Correct.
That basically it allows us some latitude should there be a drought or we have some malfunction of a system or whatever, and we have to purchase more water and so forth. It gives us a little bit of an ability to absorb those costs, over our customer base. So I just want to make sure, because Director Martinez knows this. There's several times that we had a ceiling, but we never implemented, that full range of increases. So I just want to make sure this is a function of the law. This just requires us to set a ceiling so that we don't exceed that, and we give our customers some confidence that that they, at least under worst case scenarios, this is what it would be. So
Absolutely, this is a maximum that you're setting over this 5-year rate period, not and you have the opportunity on an annual basis, as Rich mentioned, to go up to that 5% increase,
and we can always go below
or implement rates that are lower.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Dr. Martinez, any question?
No, great job. I mean,
Thank you.
Very good presentation.
Thank you. General Manager, you have any other comment?
Looking at the other examples, say something came up that required us to go above the 5%, we would have to go through this process again. So that's what the process will be. So there is recourse, but it does require us to go through this process again and notice 218, notice all the residents and so forth. So, but this is overall based on what's planned for projects and so forth. Our expected water demand and water sales. This is, what shows that we will be in a good path to meet all of our financial obligations.
Okay, thank you, GM. Yes, Director
Can I
Cox,
ask a couple
please.
questions?
Yes, please.
Thank you very
now.
much. Thank you for the presentation. I think I mentioned the last time you were here, it's my first water rate study, so I probably have more questions than the average board member, so thank you for answering them. When I saw the staff report and the presentation of the draft water rate study, in my mind I expected a draft report. And that's not here. Is that coming in the August presentation?
Correct, that'll come in August with that full report. This is the presentation where we're giving you this first look and making sure that we provide you with information and give you an opportunity to ask any questions.
Okay, then we are here for the right
Yep,
reason.
you'll have a very many long pages long report in August.
Fantastic, I look forward to it. The GM has mentioned to us several times how Sweetwater is a learning organization that can always do better. And so I don't believe you were involved in the 23 rate study, but we're aware of its results. And so I'm wondering if there's any assumptions from the 2023 rate study, and how they compare with the actual water rates. Is there anything that we learned during the 23 that we can apply to doing a better forecasting in 2026?
I don't know that methodologically there's anything that we learned, but we're obviously always looking at the current data to understand that. And so that's where those tier calculations, for example, are changing a little bit based on information that is more current today. Looking at those costs, looking at how the costs have shifted among the various sources of supply, and how that all was impacting those rates is, again, just sort of looking at that with fresh eyes, and then taking in that new data is the impetus for making that change to the tiers. So that's just one example. But I mean, I don't think there were huge lessons learned necessarily, but we're certainly looking at that fresh data.
Okay, great. And then I know we've talked a bit tonight and in the past meetings with the FY27 budget adoption and the press release that went out, and we talk about zero water rate increase, which I see on page 131, but if I look at page 145 and 146, these appear to show an increase. So how do we explain the difference to the public?
So there's first I'll say two separate rate revenue increase is not the same as increasing rates, because we're reallocating costs among customer classes based on the current data, right? All of those cost of service pieces that I went through. So that's the first point. So now, if your decision is that you do not want to increase rates in 26-27 as well, then you can do that. And again, it goes back to the comment that this is a maximum that we're setting. And so if you are keeping rates in place and making those stay at the level that they are today, then that would be implementing a rate that is lower than the maximum.
And the maximum being zero in this
The maximum
rate
being the rates that we have in the 26-27 column of each of those rate tables. That is the maximum. So again, that rate revenue is not your rate. The percent increase on your rate revenue is not a rate. That's just how much your revenue is increasing or not. But the rates themselves are what we're establishing as your baseline. And so these are maximums. And if you implement rates that are less than that, which would mean you're carrying forward your rates from this year without change, then you're implementing rates that are less than the maximum.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. It just gets I think it's complicated in how we explain that to a member of the public, because I think when you hear the simple words 0% rate increase, I think a customer anticipates if I use the same amount of water in the same amount of time, I will have the same total bill. Mm-hmm. Is that what you are intending to convey, or is that a little different based on the rate revenues moving around?
That's up to you in terms of the implementation. So again, this is what the rate study calculates the rates to be to have your rate revenue stay the same. The rates presented in the 26-27 column are what would need to be implemented. If you would like to implement lower rates, it means that you will have a little bit less revenue.
So the proposed design that you've come back to us with has a 3-tiered system for residential customers, down from the 4-tiered that we currently have. Is there a reason for moving away from the 4 to a 3 and not to a flat rate structure? I know there's been legal cases and appeals and whatnot, so I would love to hear you talk a little bit more about that. And I know the staff report said that legal counsel reviewed the study, so I'm just curious if that was our current counsel sitting at the table or our former counsel that started this process off with us. I know that's a two-part question, so.
The legal counsel who has reviewed this is your special legal counsel.
Okay.
That has been working on this, and so he was involved in the conversations. And I think, based on the, we are frankly in a little bit of a weird situation with the court cases, and I know that legal counsel talked about that last time. Without going into that, because I am not a lawyer, we felt comfortable based on the various sources of supply that you have, being able to set these tiered rates and ensure that they reflect the cost of the water that is allocated to the residential customers within each tier, thereby following the cost of service principles of Proposition 218.
Well, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, and this may be a question for Justin, there's no water drop tracer to know that a drop from Purdue went to Bonita versus Chula Vista. We know the closer to the source, the closer you are, the more of the water that you're gonna get, but how can we defend that if we don't truly know which amount of water at which source is reaching which customers in which incremental tier?
We'll defer to legal counsel on that.
And I could make a very short statement that Ludwig Ludwig will be with us at the August 12th meeting. In just very general terms, there's numerous legal cases going on right now, and they're contrary to each other. There's no clear direction, and so our recommendation is to continue on with the structure for some direction.
I forwarded in the document earlier, it's a couple of slides excerpted from a LAFCO meeting. I believe Dr. Martinez was at the Special Districts Advisory Committee meeting earlier this year, where they talked about the draft water rate comparator study. And it was reported that many of the inclining block rate structures, which I believe is what we have, are found to be illegal, and that agencies are increasingly reverting to flat rates where the charge is the same per unit volume of water irrespective of how much is used. So it's sort of that question of like how is delivering incrementally more water to my neighbor costing the agency more than incrementally less water to the neighbor on the other side?
For our tier structure, as Sarah had went over, it's based on the cost of water that's allocated to each of the tiers.
So it's us buying and making more water that gets incrementally more expensive?
There's we have a certain amount of very inexpensive water, and everyone gets a bite of that, but we only have so much of that to go around. And so then our next most expensive, some people may not need it because they don't use over a certain amount of sorry, we have a bystander. Not all customers may need to go into that second tier, but that's a little bit more expensive, but everyone will get a chance to get a bite of that little bit more expensive water. And then in the third tier now is our most expensive water, and everybody that needs to will get a bite of that most expensive water.
So on paper, we're all getting a sip of the National City water that's the cheapest. But as more and more is consumed, we're paying more for Purdue water and then even more for the desal water on paper, even though Bonita's not getting any National City water.
No, correct, we're not counting molecules. This is a way to allocate rates.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So page 131 mentions that there are no rate-funded capital expenses that are projected until FY30 in that chart. There's blanks all the way across. But I went back, it triggered something in my mind from our June 10th agenda with the board adopting the budget. And on page 714 of that, it says the capital investment budget totals $7,138,000, including $1 million in capacity fee funding, resulting in 6.138 in rate-funded capital expenses. So I'm just trying to understand. 2 weeks ago, we had $6 million in rate-funded capital expenditures, and here we have nothing in the rate-funded capital expenses column.
In those years where you see the zeros on the rate-funded capital expense line, those are being funded through reserves. So you mentioned the capacity fee reserve, so those capacity fees are paying for some of that capital, and our other reserve funds are also paying for the some of that capital.
So maybe, Rich, this would be a question for you to help me clarify. If the budget says it's rate-funded, but the water rate study says it's zero.
Yeah, it's the method where, so we have two different financial plans. MBS's financial plan is more complex, and so the capital is drafted through the reserve funds, even though all of it may not be coming directly from some of the reserve funds. But in large part, they are coming from either the rate funded or the. I think maybe my point is that comparing our 5-year financial plan to this 5-year financial plan, there's some differences, but it reaches the same conclusion, and so it's just the way the capital funds are allocated through the more complex financial plan.
And what was the acronym that you said? MSW? MS?
I may have just misspoken.
Okay.
I don't know if I said
okay.
acronym. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Since you mentioned the rate stabilization reserve, page 132, slide 10 of the presentation shows the rate stabilization reserve ending at about $5 million this year, but the treasurer's report later in the agenda has a May 31 balance of nearly $18 million. So again, just trying to understand the difference.
Yeah, and that difference is allocated in other areas of the and we'll look at getting a better explanation of these. But or I meant to say the full water rate study will have a more detailed a map of how these reserves are used. But but yeah, right now we do have that $17 million. But looking into the future and establishing the water rates, it's going to be looking a little bit different because we're using a different basis to.
And this was $5 million too. So is there a difference between a revenue stabilization reserve and a rate stabilization reserve? They are the same. It's just we're making different assumptions on starting points for those because some of those reserves are. I'll make a point to make sure we explain this better once we come back in August. Okay.
Yeah.
You can appreciate the
off the cuff.
confusion
I understand
okay.
the questions you're asking.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was surprised to see that $0 on the rate funded capital expenses, considering that LAFCO presentation. And I just wanted to highlight for the board and the public. So their presentation said, quote, appropriate capital spending increases water rates. And if we look at the charts that I provided in the handouts, they say that traditional rate comparisons can be misleading, right? So when you're looking at one customer type, at one consumption, I hope that we can do, as you said, right, a better job of how we can explain this to the public between rate revenue and rates. And when you say 0% rate, it's like, oh, okay, no increase. So I'm going to use the same amount of water next year and my bill's not going to change. But in reality, it sounds like it actually will. So just so that we can be really, really clear for the public. The charts also show that between the CIP to depreciation ratio and the CIP spending, how they compare to operating expenses. Sweetwater is one of the 3 agencies with a lower ratio than a 1-to-1, which is about 0.5. And then comparing how CIP spending compares to operating expenses, we were the second lowest in a 5-year average, around 8%, which being low might sound good in theory, but the report said taken together, if an agency is consistently on the lower end of both charts, which we are, that would raise a flag for LAFCO reviews. So thinking about the capital expenditures and the ongoing maintenance, this is why I kept asking earlier this year for a capital priority projects assessment so that we can make sure that we are keeping up with the pace of our equipment and getting ahead of that. So I share this because I thought it was really important for the board to reflect on this as we are considering this water rate study and the potential rate increases down the road. If you're spending less than 15% of your operating expense, you're probably spending too little, the report said. And if your ratio of CIP to depreciation is less than 1, you're probably spending too little. So we're under both of those. I'm not advocating for wild and crazy spending, but I do think, you know, as we look at this, we need to make sure that we're investing and keeping up with our maintaining our system in good working order. So the budget that was approved earlier this month, I know it didn't consider the non-functional turf changes that I had asked about going into effect on January 1. I'm wondering, given the comments you made about the irrigation changes in the rate study, if any of that was considered in terms of the non-functional turf that will have to be removed in the coming year and the years that follow, that will therefore reduce the irrigation consumption.
Yeah, we'll have to, I'm not sure about when that removal actually starts, and I'll have to look for our agency. But it's something we can look at, but I don't believe that was, we didn't consider that, that there would be less irrigation due to that. My understanding is it's a longer timeline, but if you had anything.
Yeah, they do have a couple of years for different types of, right, but some of the public agency deadlines are earlier, so.
And because we've seen your consumption decreasing, we've also assumed that, based on the total consumption, we've assumed that there's a 5% conservation factor reflected in. So when we're taking the total revenue that we need and dividing it over the consumption, we've assumed 5% less overall because we're seeing the trend of the consumption declining. So, we're building some of that in, but not specific to that issue.
Okay, you answered my last question then, the 5%, because it doesn't say if it's a 5% up or down. So maybe it needs to be in brackets that it's a 5% decrease that you're anticipating based on that factor.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments from the board? General Manager, you have any other comment? Rich, do you have any other?
None of this time, Chair.
Okay.
Just to reiterate, we'll come back on August 12th with the full water rate study. We'll have 18 notes for the board's review at that time as well. This is what would be mailed out to all the customers. And then we would probably also be asking the board to set a public hearing, that first board meeting in December, to adopt the water rate study. I am, you know, some very good questions from Director Cox. This is always a complicated, and anytime you do a rate study, it's not a clear-cut path from last year's rates to the new year's rates, with a clear percent increase. And so we really do focus in on the 0% revenue increase. A lot of time that gets conflated with a 0% rate increase, but it's a 0% revenue increase. And so, and just because that revenue is not increasing, that doesn't mean the rates are adjusting between the different customers and different tiers. And so there's going to be different effects on customer classes. The one thing that we can do, as was kind of mentioned, if we really did want to stick to a 0% rate increase, based on the rates that are presented, we could maintain the rates as they are currently established right now, maintain those on January 2027 as well for another year. And that would fall within the bounds of this rate study. And that way, if that was a real concern, we could actually say a 0% rate increase. And we would probably have to use some additional reserves to make up any changes in revenues that we might not collect because of different water assumptions that were based on the rates. But that is an option that we have if we wanted to make that conversation a little easier with the customers. And that being said, then the second year in 2028, that's when we would implement the second year of the water rate study. And those will be felt at that point, those changes. So with that, and then we'll have legal counsel here on the 12th, and those are my only ending comments. And really tonight is just if there's any comments to incorporate, which we did. Other than that, there's no further report, thank you.
Thank you, Director. And I think those questions from Director Cox with zero rate increase versus zero revenue increase is something that, of course, we cannot deny there's cost of service all the time, right? And so things that maybe can be clarified in order for that zero rate revenue versus zero rate increase, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We are, what are we doing with this one? New business, Board Secretary?
Just
Oh, no
information.
action. There is no action is required, possible motion, discussion, okay, no action, thank you. Moving on to 8.2, consideration to adopt resolution 26.09, adopting a salary schedule for all represented employees effective July 1st, 2026. This is the opportunity for members of the public to speak on item 8.2. Board Secretary, are there any public comments?
Yes, Chair, we have a public comment from Robert.
Mr. Robert? Thank you, Ms. Sarah.
Take it there's no presentation? I mean, that should be an easy one for you guys to answer yes or no with. It's not rude for me to ask if there's a presentation.
This is your time for public comment. It's not discourse between the.
There's no presentation is what you're saying?
It's your time for public comment.
Right, well, make
The chair
sure
wants
that
to
we
address it.
point out the fact that you guys are discriminating public right now to hear the presentation and remove, you guys even ask questions. What, you think you're better than me or something? You think you guys have more privilege to hear this information and then give comment and then restrict my ability to do the same? That's the case right now. Make sure you note this discrimination. You're supposed to help them not get into legal trouble.
Chair, I'm ready to walk out. I don't have a lot of tolerance. My stomach is hurting, and I don't feel like being with all this violence and all this aggression
I
and all
apologize,
that.
Director.
If we can't, I'm embarrassed to have put the staff through all of this craziness. If we can't run a civil meeting, let's just shut it down and come back on another day.
I apologize,
I don't wanna
Director.
get sick. I don't wanna put up with, violence and aggression and insult. Have a civil discourse, then I'm just gonna go home.
I apologize, Director, but continue your message or your comment. You have a minute and 52. Mr. Robert.
It's disgusting what you guys are doing up here at this dais.
I don't know.
It's disgusting for this member to think to interrupt a public comment and think he can restrict the First Amendment. They can't do that. It's a high bar to kick me out of this room too. Very high. You guys are supposed to err on the side of the right to